Hello and welcome to episode 6 of our Timberborn 1.0 experimental playthrough here with the Folktales. Cycle 10, day 16, half a day left until we have a bad tide. Let's hit pause, because we have a couple things we need to do before this bad tide arrives. Firstly, we have these contamination barriers here that will protect our trees from contamination. They won't be irrigated, but they also won't be contaminated. But there's a gap here. If you recall, the contamination barriers, irrigation barriers, so on and so forth, were changed at some point in the past to where they have to be contiguous to actually do anything. So, we're going to take that path out. We're going to put this thing in, make that the absolute highest priority. Get that established so that we can save a few of these crops here and eventually trees when those get replaced. And then we will, of course, will continue that, but that is the top priority right now. Need to unpause this fluid dump so that we have a beaver in there who can keep this topped up so that the water seep shuts off. We also need to close these floodgates here, but I will get this on triple speed. Really want to make sure they can get this done. I think we're bringing in components. I see planks coming in. It is not quite end of day, so I'm just make sure this gets done. Get that finished. Okay, now they can all go back to bed. Put this back down to 16 hours. But yes, this needed to be shut. That is also shut. That's on. We should not have any problems with the bad water here, which is good. We have unconnected buildings now, which means we have to get this fixed. Simple but ugly, but also simple solution is pop in that there, pop in that there, and let them get those building. Obviously, this needs to be taken care of, like I said earlier, but that's a problem for later. Let's get them planting some oak trees in here. And then we also need to talk about what we're doing with this mess. Now, if we want to have any sort of chance of keeping these irrigated, we need to have some sort of irrigation reservoir in here that will always be full of clean water. And I think the easiest way for us to accomplish that is going to be to put in right about here a 3x3, which is our ideal irrigation size, with a little bit of levee stuff there. They'll need a way to get over to this tile, so I'll put that there. This will need to be set to close above contamination 1%. And, you know, this will be good to go once they can build it. Obviously, they have other stuff that they probably should take care of, like we'll slightly prioritize that. But that doesn't solve the issue of the height not being sufficient. So how we can take care of that is remove this water wheel, and then in turn take all of these out, because this is going to give us some materials back. Take all of this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave the platforms. I'm just going to take these power shafts out. I'll explain why in just a moment. But you take these out, we get a couple materials back. We don't have a lot of logs. You may have noticed. It's possible. I'm going to take that out there, take that out there. And what this is going to allow me to do is come in through here with platforms. And then all I've got to do, connect this up here with paths. And then we can get these guys all the way past here. We can reclaim this land for additional trees. And then when we get to the very edge, we can give this a little bit of an update in terms of how this pathing is going to go down, which is going to require that I put in this guy right here, flipped around, put like that, and put like that. That'll work. It's not the, you know, the most beautiful thing I've ever made, but it will work. And that leaves us this water wheel completely isolated. Don't worry, we'll give them a friend very soon. But now I can have these floodgates that will keep water at a height of, let's say, 0.8. And when the clean water comes in, don't worry, they're not going to finish this in the next 2.5 days no matter what. When the clean water comes in, there'll be all clean water in here, and then everything else just gets pushed out. When a bad tide happens, obviously, the bad water will get pushed out because it's the end. Anyway, so a little bit of a long-term project relative to where we are right now, but that is going to be just fine. Now this is accessible. Obviously, we need to be able to harvest these trees. So I'm going to put another lumberjack flag right here. And as we kind of reclaim space here, I'll make some adjustments to how everything else is set up. But for now, I think this can be left alone. Because we still have a problem, and that is not enough beavers. We need more space for beaver housing, so on and so forth. And we have this deficit. We have 6 vacancies. With or without these, which we don't need anymore, get rid of those. And now we have more logs we can get picked up. Somewhere around 45-ish. But now we can get these beavers a little bit of help by doing something that might not be super popular with a lot of you. But I know there's at least one of you who's going to think it's hilarious, and that's going to be worth it. No more carousel. Why, you might ask? Well, I have a kind of awful but still really funny idea. And that is, what if we put lodges in here, which, with the addition of the mini lodge, will also allow us to have this set up like so. Let's flip that, put a path down the middle here, straighten this out just a little bit. Nope, that was debris I didn't want to get rid of. There we go. And then right here at the end, just because I need something to go there, let's put a medical bed. Cover this with platforms. And then, yes, friends, the carousel will go on top. How would you like to live underneath a carousel? I guarantee you, you would not enjoy that. But the beavers don't get to say no, so guess what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to put this absolute abomination right here. And give them a little bit of, thank you, autosave, decorative interest in the corners so that all of these lodges do get that bonus from the roofing piece. Boy, is this just absolutely heinous. It's horrible. But I think it's hilarious. So that's going to increase our population. Probably should do a little bit more. But I don't want to have too much population growth at one time because you know that ends up being kind of a bad thing. I also want to put a zipline station in. I know this is not the perfect location for it. But this is still going to be decent to have a station here. Because I want to get up here so we can mess with this aquifer at some point. We will see what happens. But I know that's something that people have been asking for. But now we have, let's see. Yeah, we've got about 2 days left. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Get these guys in here to demolish this stuff, build this stuff. I know we're not generating any power with this that we can use in the grid. We do still have to connect everything back in here. And that is a process that, believe it or not, does take time. So I will need to give them a little bit more time to get things taken care of. But I believe once we can actually, you know, get enough of these trees pulled out of the ground, that we will be in a pretty good position to get this taken care of. That is going to require that we do a little bit of finagling here. I know this still needs to get redone at some point, and this is by no means a permanent solution. It is just a solution that will work for the time being. Get that set up there. We're going to have this come all the way across just to get this hooked back up nice and easy. Just straight line, because that is the easy way to do it. Get that hooked up there. And then the rest of this we're going to have to just do in segments as these beavers can come over here. But that'll get this connected here. That'll get both of these in line to take care of stuff. I don't know if I can put another gravity battery here. I can. Okay. So I'll add that to the list. Very good. I know we need more capacity, and I can't put any more than this here. But instead of having 12, this will now be 24, which, you know, it's something. Yeah, we do have a little bit of contamination here, which is what it is. I know that's the wrong one. I know we need to have this popped in here, but I don't quite have all the materials for everything quite yet. We'll see what happens. Well, that gives them, you know, a decent amount of stuff to do. So what I will do is I will time-lapse this just very briefly. Try and get them some stuff. I need to also reset the bad tide stuff at the end of that. But I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so let's come out of this time-lapse and check out what they've got done, which is our irrigation pond. Again, correctly set. We have our floodgates set to 0.8. They're still working on this, but I have noticed that they have managed to get all of the lodging done, and the reason that I came out of the time-lapse was so that I could pause these extra ones here. I do not want to have a flood of baby beavers, because that just leads to a flood of beaver deaths later on. And that disrupts things with folktales where you can only ever have adult and children beavers, unlike the Iron Teeth where you can just pop adult beavers out of the unholy beaver brewing buckets. So now we have about 10% of our population as kids with a couple of open slots. I'll let those fill up with babies, and then we should be good to go. But again, I don't want birth waves or death waves if I can at all help it. And this carousel being finished is going to be nice as well. We'll be able to enjoy that, hopefully sooner rather than later. Zipline station is one of those things that also just needs to get finished, but we'll have to wait. So because these crops died, we have the opportunity to immediately replant them as oak trees. These are already marked for cutting, I believe, yes. So that's fine. We're getting these trees taken care of. But now that the paths are elevated, and we have this alternate route down here, we can come back in and delete our pathing here, which will give us the opportunity to reclaim some of this for tree production. But we do need to make sure that I have another place for these guys to sit here and cut trees from, which of course will be here. And then this one will also get moved, rotated, and popped right there. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 of these, which for an area this size, assuming beavers that are decently boosted, is probably okay. Not necessarily the best, but we can work with it. Just make sure that is marked for cutting. It looks like it all is. Okay, yeah, I think that's going to be good. We also have our Lido here ready to go. Again, they're still working on this because it is, in fact, something that will take time. And I can't click on this for some reason, but come on. At some point, it has to let me click on this. But you saw me put this in, so that's fine. Now we have to talk about this. I realized I did not mention this, but the billboard stuff has been reorganized. So if you go and re-download those, they're now in a much better order, where I don't have to go hunting. I can just scroll. We have capitals, we have lowercase, we have numbers, we have the symbols, and then we have all of these accent characters. So yes, we can now respell Beaverburg 30 however we choose. And yes, I took German in high school, so I do know that the umlaut on the U there is just hilariously wrong and an abomination and an affront to the German language. But counterpoint, it's funny, and it's a meme from the channel's history, so it stays. Unless you guys really don't want to see it, but we're just going to leave it there. Let's get this taken care of right there. And then, in a little bit of a nod to 2008 Xbox Live, we're going to have lower and uppercase X's over here. That's what everybody did, right? You put your stupid XXX underscore 420 underscore no scope pro underscore XXX, and that's your super awesome, incredibly amazing Xbox Live gamer tag, because that's definitely a real thing. Anyway, moving on. That's fixed. They're working on this. This has been improved. We finally have some logs coming in. And we're about to have the absolute worst living situation you could possibly imagine for these poor beavers who live under the carousel. But boy, is it going to be funny. So that can stay the way it is. We do need to get some more beavers in the observatory because it is currently completely deprioritized. But as the population goes up and as we get those adults, we should be able to take care of that. We also need to have more storage for water specifically, and more pumping, which is another thing I was thinking of doing up here. If we move this path one this way. Then what I can do is, you know, when we eventually get around to it, I can put a water pump here, I can put a water pump here, and then I've got 3 more pumps up here, and then depending on how I want to do this, I believe I can put a double platform on top of this. Oh, yes I can. All right. I love it when a plan comes together, because you know what's going to go up here. That's right. It's large tanks. And that holds water. And now, because we have these amazing, wonderful new keyboard shortcuts, I believe if I hit B, yes, it duplicates it. Oh, come on, autosave. Okay, but it saved that there. There you go. There you go. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? I love it. This does unfortunately mean that B for boom is no longer a valid thing unless I want to remap the duplicate key. But yeah, that's cool. We aren't going to be able to finish this anytime soon, but it's still pretty cool. Oh, there's nobody in the gear workshop. See, this is what happens when you don't have enough. You don't have enough beavers. How in the world did you do that? Come on, man. I don't have any mods installed either. See if I can force it out. No. Okay, well. Very carefully deselect this. Stupid idiots. Alright. Build the staircase so this idiot can get out of there. They can't reach that. Interesting problem to have. I figured they were probably going to be able to do that. I guess they didn't build it in the correct order. Well, they better get up here and ride this carousel or I'm going to be kind of irritated with them. But I do have 7 children. I've got 2 empty beds, still 1 homeless because... okay, so it's really only 1 empty bed. Because this beaver decided to get stuck. That was a good way to spend a... What day is it? Saturday afternoon? Alright, come on, get your beaver unstuck here. Nobody wants a stuck beaver. We got to get this aquifer going, because I did say we were going to do that. So, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of given them too many building projects. I need to just kind of chill. So, maybe what might actually make the most sense, I know, another time lapse, but look, I'm trying to get stuff done. I'm committed to getting things accomplished in a timely fashion so we don't end up with 50 episodes and everyone's sick of it by the time we're not even completely done yet. So yeah, we're going to let them build some stuff. I will kind of probably micromanage that housing a little bit during this time, but we should, operative term being should, be in a very good spot once this is finished. So I will see you on the other side of this building. Alright, cycle 12, we got our large tank built, our very first one, but somebody forgot to shut the pumps off. I wonder who that could have been. And yes, so now all of these are dead in the middle and have to get replanted, and these are on their way out, but they hopefully will get undead in just a moment when this actually fills back up. Potatoes are dead, carrots are on their way, sunflowers are a little hardier, fortunately. But yeah, that's super annoying. And I think it is time for those pumps to officially go. Because now we have these. So we'll get those activated. Obviously we need to have some more gears. I talked a little bit about why that was going to be a problem, I think. And if not, then maybe I'm just completely losing my mind even more than I already thought possible. Good times. So I can't really add another one of these gear workshops here, because I don't have enough power. So that is going to mean that I am going to have to figure something out here. I don't want to have the power wheels or anything, because I think that's a huge waste of labor. But I can open up another one of these lodges. I think we need to get that going. I don't know, man. It's like Folktale's power is just so limited, especially on this map where there's almost no water flow. And maybe that's another reason why we need to come up here and take care of this. I don't know. It's just a lot. be perfectly honest with you, I don't have a good plan for this, or much of one at all. But we are in the process of getting this all kind of sorted out at some point. This is taking forever and a day to get this filled back up. This isn't going to really help if I add that. Oh, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? I know we have clean water that can come through here. This isn't going because there's no power, so this is going to have to wait until this gets full enough to come through here, and I don't have anything else connected to... Okay. Well, oh no, I paused it. That's right. I can unpause it because I didn't want these to drain. Okay, so we know that's at the very least going to do something. Can you tell I never play these guys because I always forget how stuff works? These are regular blockages. If we really wanted to, I guess I could have this go through and generate some power here. But everything's just spaced so far out, I don't really know what the best idea would be. I could have something coming through here. We've already kind of talked about why that might not be a great idea. Bad water domes are still a ways off. I don't have enough science for that. Bad water rig, same kind of deal. Aquifer drill, I'd have to have 400 HP to run that, which means I'd have to have windmills. I don't have the big windmills available because I don't have paper, and I can't really make paper without the small ones, so... boy. Fun times here with the beavers. Let's just unlock these smaller windmills. Because I just have to have power, folks. Not going to survive without it. So let's put one of these here. Even if it's not active all the time. Just put one of those in. Put two of those in. Just so this can supplement. And I'm going to, just for the sake of getting something accomplished, just mount this up on top of here. Just because that is close enough. I need more gears. I gotta have more gears, and that's probably still not enough, but it's gonna be better. And I got 6 kits and 3 empty beds. I don't really want to open up another one of these 3-wise, but we're gonna have to do something, because this is not great. Not great. How are we looking here? This is almost full. It's gonna crest soon. Oh, I miss my flywheels so much. But this is a mod-free playthrough, at least for right now. So these guys pumping here obviously have access to the zipline station, which means these aren't great location-wise. I think I'm going to empty them and move them elsewhere, because I have this one medium tank right here. That's fine. I probably should put a couple more over here. But I'm not entirely sure how I want to go about doing that. I do know I can reclaim these gears to use for other things. And same with this once that is fully emptied. As soon as these guys actually do it. Come on. Come on, just a little bit more. There you go. Grab that stuff off the ground. How many do I have in my hauling post? 4. Well, that can now go up to 5. Population increases, that can slowly be increased as well. I turned off the smelters and the bad water stuff because, well, we don't really need it right now, and we can use those beavers for other things. I know this still isn't connected to anything because we have to wait a billion years, but this is... it's creating 200 something. I could... I mean, it wouldn't be very nice looking, but I could have that power go through this way. I don't know. I guess we will have to wait and see what happens with that. I know I could get tunnels going. That's something somebody pointed out, but that's 2,000 science that I do not have yet. And it would be kind of expensive for us to have those going all the way across the map. Plus, we haven't started making dynamite yet. Not that that's hard or anything, but that is another wrinkle that we can add that costs power, would have to go in here. So on and so forth, but at least this is now operating pretty nicely. These I didn't want to put that one in yet. I wanted that to go there. I've got, 3,000 water storage. This one is on its way. It's not going to be, tremendously quick at it, but now I've got this making 620 HP, which means that soon I'm going to have the ability to make more gears. Yes, I understand the irony of needing to put it on top of a thing that requires gears. That's kind of funny, so I'm just going to let that be what it's going to be. What do we have on the ground here? I mean, these... Oh, I forgot they're not going to pick up any of these leftovers unless I tell them to, because that was a mod. Let's see, I still have a pretty decent amount of time left in terms of recording-wise. I guess I should probably start making moves to get these guys up here. Let's put in a spiral staircase, flip that way. And then get them up here. Just get that situated. I would like to avoid putting this in during a bad tide, if at all possible. But this would be great in terms of, even if it's only, you know, something we use to generate power, it would be better than nothing. So before we actually start doing our extractor here, what we can do is we can kind of engineer a setup for this to generate power, depending on how we want to put levees in place. We do have a decent amount of logs, so if we want it to come out, I guess, this way. It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's... I know they can't reach this yet, so let's put in... Okay, that might actually not be great there. Again, this map is not great for this. Oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Because I can't... I can't do straight lines because there's no straight lines. I need to create like a back and forth kind of power generator. It's so much easier to do this with the one wide. I mean, if I just don't worry about it. I know it's not going to be super great, but it's going to be better than nothing. If I put 4 here, and then I have levees here, then I just have to have this do a turnaround, but that's not... It's too much width. Too much width. I only need 2. See, nobody else is stupid enough to just do this without editing it out. That's the value you get when you watch my videos, is you get to see my slow descent into insanity. See, I just... See, if that's going down this way, then I can have this come out here. See, then see if that's coming this way, I don't have enough width. I don't have enough width. I'd have to blast this out. This just isn't... I don't think this is going to work. I thought this was going to be like a super simple, easy slam dunk idea, but no, the game doesn't want me to have success, so we're going to abandon that. Maybe come back to that at another point in time. Very, very, very limited power options with these guys. Because the windmills are super inconsistent. I don't have anywhere to hang gravity batteries off of either. That would really be very good. So now this is 460 out of 400 is probably fine, honestly. Okay. Now my brain hurts. I have 2,000 science. Is that enough to do one of these? No, because that's 3,000. Well, alright, let's get another lodge in here. We will think about this. We'll have to do this next time. I think I'm going to have to do some blasting for this to actually be viable, which means we'll have to have a explosives factory. And I don't have a great place to put that, but I could if I really wanted to cheese it. Which I guess is probably fine. Yeah, you know what? I know I keep saying I don't have enough science for stuff, but this would actually help us out, so just pop that in there. And we do have enough power generation to support this. And then right across the way, I could put in dynamite as soon as I remember where it is. There we go. It's not great, but it'll work. We are pretty full up on scrap metals, so I probably should turn these back on. So we're about to start using more of that stuff. They finished that. That's good. I know I can hook this back up. Oh, you know what I should have done is I should have put a water wheel here. That would have made so much more sense, but now it's not too late. It's not too late. They can still build it. Yeah, you know, that's, I'm not going to lose my mind trying to grab that. That's fine. I'll just have to make this kind of a priority along with that. It'll make more power than nothing, which should count for something. I think at this point we've activated all of our bad water discharges, right? I don't see any more on the map that aren't. Oh, hey, here's a relic we could get if we wanted. I haven't seen, like, the big satellite dish size one. And I don't know if this map has one. Somebody told me that this map doesn't have an unstable core in it. Which, you know, is kind of disappointing, but also kind of relieving, because then I don't have to worry about it. Oh, you know what we could do here? It's going to be a while, but we eventually are going to get rid of all these ruins. We could make this into a farm up here. We do have a zipline station, and it wouldn't be that hard to put an irrigation thing up here. That would not be a bad idea. I've got extra beavers, technically. So let's run a path. Come on, autosave. Let's run a path up here. And then I'm going to mark these for cutting. I think I can spare a single lumberjack flag to take care of that. Yeah, let's roll with that. That can be a nice project for the future. Now we're making a decent amount of power. I'm still working on that. I think that is probably fine. You know what? I can feel kind of good about that. Depending on how quick they get this up and running, maybe we might have a little bit of time to start doing some terrain modification. Yeah, they're about to have that done. I'll tell you what. I got 2,800. I could unlock the dynamite, or I could just build a brazier of bonding at the end of the episode. How fast am I going to get the rest of that? I don't know. Well, you know, we don't need to rush into doing anything with this if we aren't exactly sure how that's going to work, so maybe I will just leave that alone and attempt to get a brazier of bonding done. I just need another 113 science. I think we need to feel kind of good about that. Is this empty? It is! Okay, good. We can keep cleaning that up. That's also empty. Very good. Spatterdock chestnuts. This probably doesn't need to be here, but that's where those are right now. I haven't moved those yet, so I guess those can stay. Eventually this is all going to get messed with anyway. These are marked for cutting, right? Okay, good. I think wood-wise we're probably okay for right now. I'm not going to spend my science on this quite yet. I will, however, put in a pile up here so I can store some more logs, because it's honestly kind of ridiculous that I didn't have that already. And I suppose I could put another lumberjack flag up here. Never hurts. But I see 3,000 science, which means time for the brazier bonding. And then they can put all of our planks and stuff in here. I know we have this big ugly zip line going in front of it, but it's going to be a big boost to these beavers. Might just take them a little bit of time to do it, but they'll get it done. Is this just logs on the ground? Oh boy, there's a bad tide in 3 days. That's a good place for us to end this episode, actually. Let's see. This is still going to make power during a bad tide. We are making dynamite. I do have storage for dynamite. I think, honestly, we can leave this going and not worry about it quite yet. And then maybe before the next episode, come up with a plan of attack for making power out of this. I know these are too wide. They have to have something in the middle. So if I put one here, then that would cause us some issues there. I'm thinking, I know it's kind of ugly, stupid, whatever, but it might actually be worth it for us to take this and this out and then just go zoop, 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 make a whole bunch of stuff. Feel free to give me your ideas, though. Always open to those. Planks coming in. We are not going to have this finished before the end of the episode, but we'll be in the process of building it, which is always nice. That's working. Probably about time to add another couple of launches as well. These are kind of a waste of space, honestly. That would fit nicely, though. Detailers? Possibly. That's 1,000 science I don't have. I suppose, folks, this is about the best time to end this episode to start wrapping things up. Now that we don't have any pumping happening here, there's almost no possible way this can go wrong. So what I'm going to do in advance is just set this to the max, and we'll do our end of episode fun, and we'll get on our way, and the next episode we'll pick up with this bad tide, and hopefully have a good opportunity to get some power generation going that we can link things up to. But yes, I am so glad you are watching these videos and enjoying them for the most part. I know sometimes it's a little bit of a what the heck is going on kind of situation, but I don't take this stuff out. I don't cut out mistakes. I time-lapse, and if I have to cough or sneeze or whatever, obviously that comes out. But what you see is what you get. It's the authentic experience of playing the game, and it's those folks like the Beard Boosters that make it possible for me to do this without having sponsors or having to chase the algorithm or whatever. I don't really want to do that. I don't really have time for that, but I do have time to spend approximately an hour every day with you guys playing some fun stuff with the beavers, and you know, eventually other things once we can get back into those. But I'm just so glad we get to spend this time together. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.